Welcome to This Week from Blue Mountain Broadcasting. I'm your host, Lynelle Ellis, president of Blue Mountain Broadcasting Association, and I'm very glad that you've tuned in to the program today. We have a really exciting interview coming up with Sara Archer, who's the Chief Executive Officer for Blue Mountain Humane Society. And she's going to be here with some pets as well and talk with us about what's going on with that important organization here in our community. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And also, I have some station news to share with you toward the end of the program. Right now, let's begin with our devotional thought. I recently read Psalm 19 again. It's a beautiful psalm and a favorite of mine. I also did a little research to see who might have written some commentary on this wonderful psalm. And I found some thoughts by Pastor Jim Shelburne of the Grissom Road Church of Christ in San Antonio, Texas. Now, I must confess that San Antonio is my mother's birthplace and the home to many beloved relatives, and so it holds a special place in my heart. So maybe somehow that makes me even more interested in what Pastor Shelburne from San Antonio has to say. I want to share some of his thoughts on Psalm 19 with you today. Most Christians have met people who spend a great deal of time agonizing over the question, is there a God? Still others spend as much time trying to prove that there is not a God. David's answer is very practical. Look around you and see the world. In the birth of baby birds and other animals, in the blooming of flowers and the industrious flying of the bee, God's hand is seen everywhere. Those that question that there is a God must always deal with the beauty and mystery of life. David wrote, "Day after day they pour forth speech, night after night they display knowledge." Yes, unless we deliberately deny what we see, the universe bears constant witness to the presence of God. Each plant and insect is like an incredibly small organic computer that has been programmed to function in a certain way. The heavens function with such mathematical precision that spacecraft can be sent to where a planet or a moon will be so that an orbit and landing can be accomplished. The unmanned spacecraft Galileo visited the planets and many of the moons of the solar system. The trip took over 2 decades, yet that tiny craft arrived at each point exactly when it was supposed to. Science can describe what happens in the universe or how it happens, but the question why must come from another area. For David, and for these that will not be blinded by the God of this world, that other area is, of course, God. The first 6 verses of Psalm 19 are remarkable in themselves, but David doesn't stop there. After considering his creation, David then thinks about the way that God deals with people. Today, many people do not understand how God can be a God of love and a God of law at the same time. How can there be a place for punishment? Even more people do not understand how the law of Moses and the various statutes of God fit in with this God of love. And a popular idea is that the law of Moses was imperfect or it was a mistake, and Jesus had to come to correct what was wrong. Nothing could be further from the truth. David wrote, "The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple." Verse 7 through 10 focus on the rightness and the goodness of God's law. And then in verse 11, David wrote, "By them is your servant warned. In keeping them, there is great reward." The law of God, the expression of God's will, is good. The problem comes when people do not understand the purpose behind the law. Paul wrote that the law was a tutor or schoolmaster that was designed to teach, restrict, and bind humanity until the time for maturity had arrived. The law, or any law, shows us that we are imperfect and that we cannot completely fulfill the requirements of the law. The law can never show mercy or love. It can only judge one as being guilty or not guilty. And Paul wrote that all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. We'll never win our way to heaven through the law. Yet, that was never the purpose of the law. The law showed mankind what the perfect and righteous God requires. There can be no blemish or stain of sin. If the laws of God are obeyed, then a person will experience joy and peace. But of even greater value, the law of God pointed to the fact that something else was needed before the door of salvation could be opened. Beginning with verse 12, David asked a very important question. Who can discern his error? Too often, we can't see the forest for the trees. There are things that we do that are wrong, and yet we're so involved in the world that we don't realize what we're doing. It took the words of Nathan to wake David up to his sin with Bathsheba. Why do we need the law? The law reveals what sin is in God's eyes. What can we do about sin? Our only hope comes when we embrace the salvation offered through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Yes, Psalm 19 is a true jewel. It shows us God in His creation. It shows us the righteousness of God in His law. It shows us our need for forgiveness, and it shows that the forgiveness we must have comes through the good news message of Jesus Christ and His sacrifice. And my thanks to Pastor Shelburne for his thoughts. And I encourage you to find a moment to read Psalm 19 today in its entirety. It will prove a blessing. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now is Sara Archer, Chief Executive Officer with Blue Mountain Humane Society. And Sara, it is great to have you here.
It is great to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
And we got a few other guests too, which we'll introduce in just a moment.
I did bring some friends.
I'm glad you did. So let's talk about the Blue Mountain Humane Society. You've been here in our community for a long time. What's the mission, if you had to sum it up for us?
The mission of Blue Mountain Humane Society is to prevent cruelty, promote kindness, and to foster the human-animal bond. Mm-hmm. It's the good stuff.
It is the good stuff. I'm having a bond with this one right now. So let's talk about these two while we're holding them here. Who do you have there?
Sure. I have Ron here. Ron is about a 10-week-old puppy of unknown species origin.
Yes.
And Ron came to us as a transfer in from another shelter and rescue group up in the Okanagan. It's one of the parts of our state that still is really struggling with overpopulation, where many of those issues have been addressed effectively in our community and in communities around the state. The Okanagan is still really struggling. So we took in, they were a litter of 8 puppies, and they were in foster care, and they just came back to the shelter, and he was neutered yesterday and is available for adoption today.
Well,
and his name is Ron. He is such a good boy. He's a good boy.
He really is. As we've been getting ready for the interview, he's just been sitting so patiently.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah, so sweet.
And you are holding Vision. Vision is a kitten that was surrendered with his litter mates to Blue Mountain Humane Society by a family who could no longer care for them.
Yes.
And they were about 4 weeks old at that time. They too went into foster care and came back yesterday and had surgery and are available for adoption. So it's just a couple of the ways the animals make their way into our care, in addition to strays in the community. local families who need to surrender a pet to be rehomed,
Yes.
and then transfers in occasionally from other shelters and rescues.
And I know that Blue Mountain Humane Society here has a really good track record of finding homes for pets. How do you do it?
Oh, one at a time, one animal at a time. You know, we've just been incredibly blessed with the support of this community. But one of the ways that we are successful in finding animals homes is we practice a concept called adopter's welcome, and it really is about removing barriers for people who are interested in adopting and making it accessible, affordable, and relatively easy to do so. And we've been rewarded in that effort with people coming to adopt from outside of our valley. People come down from Spokane and up from Boise and occasionally from Portland. And Seattle. So the internet has changed everything.
Yes.
You know, technology has changed everything.
What
right.
you have available.
Yeah. And there are some platforms like petfinder.com where people can look for a specific animal and then say, I want to rescue from a shelter within 100 miles, and so they're seeing the pets that we have in our care that are available. That's one of the ways that we have been successful.
Vision's just going to go to sleep right here. You are such a weakness for me, yes. Little orange kittens, since I was a little girl and had an orange kitten, that's just the weakness for me, yes. Oh. Okay, so you have been with Blue Mountain Humane Society for a while.
I have.
How did you become involved, and what's your work now?
So I had moved back to the Walla Walla Valley and was looking for an opportunity. My background is in healthcare fundraising. I spent 15 years raising money for hospitals, some with Adventist Health and some with a community-owned hospital in Clarkston. And I applied for and was hired as the executive director of Blue Mountain Humane Society in January of 2006. So 15 years and a few months.
Yes.
And it has just been it's been such a labor of love, just a perfect fit for my passion and my ability. Yeah. So I've learned a great deal about animal welfare over the years. Certainly a learning curve,
yes.
But love every minute of it. And really, you know, it's the mission just pulls me forward. It has my heart.
Yes.
The difference that pets make in our life, especially in the last year when things have been so challenging and so isolating, animals have made all the difference for people. My mom lives alone with her cat and in assisted living, and it's just been such a tremendous blessing. We need each other. I think God made us that way. I think we were built for connection, and when human connection is not as available or possible, I think that animals help meet that need. So it's a real privilege to be a guardian of that.
Boy, it really must be. And I'm thinking about just our own experiences with our family. We lost a pet. Excuse me. We lost a pet while we were all ill with COVID. You know, it was just a really, really tough time for us. But through Blue Mountain Humane Society, we have adopted a new cat, and she's just so loving and wonderful. And I can see her providing healing kind of with the loss of the other animal for the whole family, especially my son that was particularly close to the other animal, you know, so it's just great.
That is I think they're, as I often say, their only downfall is they don't outlive us.
Yes.
And it's still an invitation to love and to connection, and as long as, we don't encourage a replacement pet, but, maybe take the time to grieve and then find a new best friend, and don't expect them to be exactly.
They're not the other. They're not the other pet that you had.
No, they're going to bring something new into your life that you may not even know you need.
Yes.
Yeah. That's, I think, the
we've
gift.
We've really been having that experience with our new cat. It's just great. She's really neat. So at the Blue Mountain Humane Society right now, I'm sure you have some needs that sort of pop to your mind.
We do. It is kitten season. That's what we call it in the business.
Yes.
And we are always in need of foster homes, of families who are willing to take in some some kittens and maybe a mama cat and care for them until they're big enough to be spayed and neutered and placed up for adoption. So our commitment is to alter everything before they're adopted. That's our commitment to reducing pet overpopulation in our community. So everything, all the cats and dogs and even rabbits and occasionally guinea pigs, we do our best to make sure that they are not going to reproduce and add to the pet overpopulation problem. But foster families are one ongoing need. The other need is cat food right now. So
Really?
we are partnered with Blue Mountain Action Council and have since March of last year to distribute pet food to families who need it.
Yes.
And we are serving about 1,200 families a week with cat food and dog food. And we were really incredibly fortunate, received a very large distribution of dog food from greatergood.org. And we have that in storage, but cat food to give away to people who may have food insecurity for themselves and for their pets.
Yes.
So keeping pets and people together is one of the things that it's a sensibility that's really changed at Blue Mountain Humane Society in the last 3 or 4 years. Is what can we do
To help them keep their pet.
to keep pets in the home? And sometimes that's food, and sometimes that's veterinary care, and sometimes it's medication or a prescription diet for the animal. Sometimes it's a deposit to move into an apartment where so they can keep their pet.
Yes.
Just really looking to prevent animals coming into the shelter who don't really need to be there.
Their family would love to keep them if they could afford to.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and with foster care and with using some other tools, including home to home, which is a tool that allows us to support families to rehome their pet directly, using Blue Mountain Humane Society's sphere of influence in social media, and get the word out that they're looking to rehome. The shelter is no place for a pet. It is a safe place for a pet while they need to be there, but deinstitutionalizing how we are caring for animals has really allowed us to increase our life-saving efforts. So it's a partnership with the community.
This is really fascinating to me. So if we want to help with cat food, do we bring cat food, or do we give a donation so you can purchase the cat food?
Either way works. When we receive cash donations earmarked for pet food, we purchase from local suppliers here in the Valley because we're committed to shopping local.
Yes.
And so we order from one of the farm supply stores, and then we repackage that food and distribute it in the community. Donations of pet food of any sort can be dropped off in front of the shelter. There's a donation bin, a little shelter for donations, and that's another way that people can participate. Another thing that we're just opening back up is volunteers. So that's really exciting. We have missed our volunteers over the course of the last year. We've had just a few. We have been open 7 days a week throughout the pandemic as an essential service, but have limited both the public coming into the building and our volunteers. So
that's good.
Yeah.
So let's talk briefly about how you can become a foster parent, and then we'll have just a moment to talk about adopting a pet. So.
Sure.
But first, foster.
So one of the, we are really proud of our website. I know that not everyone has access to the internet, but if they do, bluemountainhumane.org is the best resource to answer all of your questions about Blue Mountain Humane Society. There is a fairly simple foster application to express interest in being a foster family, and identifying what types of animals you might be willing to foster, and then our foster coordinator reaches out and makes a connection when we have a need, either by phone or by email.
Good. And then what about adopting? You mentioned that you've really made the process simple for people, and that's helped with getting homes.
It really has.
So how does it work?
It really has. There's a very straightforward, one page, if it were printed, adoption application available on our website at bluemountainhumane.org, and indicate the pet that you're interested in adopting. And because we are open, we are still open by appointment. We schedule a time for you to come in, meet that animal, and take them home the same day. With dogs over the age of 6 months, we really encourage a home trial. So a dog can go home with the family for between 3 and 6 days to see if it's going to be a good fit. It's a big deal to add a dog to your family.
Yes.
We
Very
don't do
big.
that with puppies. We do ask people to make the commitment and finalize the adoption for a puppy if they're going to take a puppy under the age of 6 months home. But cats and kittens, and we not only try to make it simple, we try to make it affordable.
Yes.
So our pets are, shelter pets are all spayed, neutered, current on their shots.
Yes.
And they come with a free vet check at a local veterinary clinic to get established for care. The adoption price for kittens is $95. It is $55 for cats. Puppies are more highly desirable, and we ask for a $250 donation for puppies. Adult dogs, large breed dogs, are $125 and $175 for small breed dogs. And all of that information is on our website at bluemountainhumane.org.
That's great. Oh, you are so sweet. Yes, well, and I can attest that the process is very simple. And sometimes you have some pets at some of the pet stores. We actually saw our cat at Petco.
Yeah, we do have cats, adoptable cats at Petco all the time. It's been, and throughout the pandemic, that's really been really tremendous to be able to have that outlet where people can meet and interact with our available kitties and take them home straight from the store.
And it was very simple. to do.
Good.
So very simple. You can do it. All right. Well, I think we're out of time, but Sarah, this has been so fun. And look, we got to keep these pets with us the whole interview. They behaved so well. Thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. My absolute pleasure.
And thank you for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. It's time now for Station News. We have a new intern working at Blue Mountain Television. Her name is Tori Johnson. She's a student from Walla Walla University, and she's interning at the station working on a very specific and special project for us. She is filming some nature segments out at the Dixie Acres farm, working with Lana Ash there. And they're making these spots that she's creating will each be 2 to 3 minutes long, and they will highlight spiritual lessons from the garden and from nature. So look for these to be coming soon on Blue Mountain Television. We're really excited to have this intern working with us and really excited for this new programming and grateful to the Ash family for helping us with that as well. And then some notes about programming. You know that we have some graduations coming on Blue Mountain Television, the Walla Walla University graduations. There are going to be 4 of them this year due to the COVID pandemic restrictions. And so the first one will be Friday, June 11 at 4 p.m. And then a general graduation on Sunday, June 13 at 8:30 a.m. A nurse's pinning and graduation on Sunday, June 13 at 1 p.m. And then another general graduation Sunday, June 13 at 6 p.m. And that's a new time, so make note of that. It will be at 6 p.m. So again, Friday at 4, Sunday at 8:30, 1, and 6. And probably best if you find out from your graduate which graduation they are planning to be marching in so that you tune in for the one that you really want to see. Also, you know we have Upper Columbia Conference's virtual camp meeting coming to us, and that's going to be June 14 through 19. So mark that on your calendars. Starting each evening at 6:30 with a children's program with Rich Aguilera. And then following that at 7 p.m. will be the main program. And we have speakers for that Monday through Wednesday, Randy Maxwell, who's a special friend of us here at Blue Mountain Television, having been here for our fall fundraiser. And then also Thursday and Friday will be Ron Halverson Jr. as the featured speaker in the evening. And on Saturday, John Friedman, the North Pacific Union Conference president, will be the featured speaker for the church service and for the evening meeting. And speaking of Sabbath, there's some extra times on that day, as you might expect. At 9:30 in the morning, there'll be a children's program, and then at 10 a.m., Sabbath school for adults, followed by the church service at 11. So be sure to mark it on your calendar and tune in for these special camp meeting programs that you're going to be able to see on Blue Mountain Television. And by the way, we're going to have to move our regularly scheduled 8 p.m. church services during that week to 9 p.m. So you'll still be able to see them. They're just moving an hour later. And I wanted to remind you too that it is certainly not too late to pick up our gift catalog. You probably have one at your home by now. If not, you can request one at the station at 529-9149, or go through the one you have there at home and look at some of the gift options that are available for helping Blue Mountain Television move to our new facility. And we've had a lot of things funded already, but not everything. We certainly have needs, continue to have needs, and things that can be purchased for that new facility. So please take advantage of our gift catalog, looking through it and making a contribution to the station through that. And we want to thank you because, as you know, Blue Mountain Television is an entirely viewer-supported ministry. Everything that happens here at the station is because you are invested in it, and you have donated, you care, you pray about the ministry. We're so grateful for that. So thank you to you. And I also want to thank you for watching today. Hope you enjoyed that interview with the animals that we had here. That was really fun and special. And that you've gotten updated with station news, and that you'll be taking some time to read Psalm 19 today and dig a little bit deeper into God's Word. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.